Welcome to the second season of the PBA League. 8 star-studded teams owned by some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Today, Billie Jean King's defending Elias Cup champions, the New York City WTT Kingpins, and franchise player Pete Weber go up against Mike Fagan and the Motown Muscle owned by NFL great Jerome Bettis, in a format that features singles, doubles, trios, and 5-on-5 team play. It's an all-or-nothing battle on the road to the Elias Cup final. The winner advances, the loser goes home. And it starts right now on ESPN. Yeah! Welcome to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, the PBA League quarterfinals. New York City WTT Kingpins versus the hometown Motown Muscle. This is an 8-team tournament-style competition. The winner of today's matchup will move on to the semifinals, where they will face Chris Paul's LAX, who knocked off the Brooklyn Styles here last week. Each team is made up of 5 PBA pros, featuring a franchise player. And for New York City, that player is PDW, Pete Weber, and he is standing by with Kimberly Kressler.
Pete, you and the Kingpins are defending champions. Talk to me about the pressure you feel coming into this to defend the title.
I think the only pressure that's on us is what we put on ourselves. And from what I've seen so far, all the guys look pretty loose. They're ready to go, and they're ready to defend. So look out.
Well, you have some new team members right now. How does that change up the chemistry, if at all?
I have Stuart Williams is new and Jake Peters is new, and me and Carolyn, John, and Scott have all the confidence in the world in them. They both are champions. They both know how to bowl on TV, and they both are team players, so we're still going to be tough to beat.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Mike Jakubowski and Randy Peterson with Kimberly on today's telecast. And Randy, tell us about the lane conditions.
42 feet in length, characteristics, multiple angles, yes and no. Look for the players to play deep. The high rev guys are going to be in. They're going to be swinging the ball out to about that 6, 7, 8 chord. The straighter players are going to be going a little bit straighter towards second arrow.
4 games make up today's match: singles, doubles, and then trios, each worth a point. The final 5-on-5 team competition worth 3 points. We open up with singles. Franchise players Pete Weber and Mike Fagan facing off.
The Red Wings.
Goal. Detroit Red Wings goal. Sound effect for Fagan attending a Red Wings game the other night here, and Pete Weber for the defending Elias Cup champions.
Do you see that stat? Is 51 years of age, 34 years on tour, 37 titles. My.
Four pin on the opening shot for Weber.
Pete goes just a little bit high with his opening shot, leaving just the 4-pin. Remember, that right lane played tighter, or excuse me, that right lane hooked more than the left lane did last week. Let's see if the same holds true. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't.
The New York City WTT Kingpins, owned by Billie Jean King and managed by Carolyn Doran Ballard, Pete Weber, Scott Norton, John Zerbinski, new players. Stuart Williams and Jake Peters added to the roster.
They lost Tommy Jones to free agency, but picked up 2 PBA champions in Stu Williams and Jake Peters. Remember, Jake won last year, 2013, in the Summer Series.
Pete got the landing down, gets the good result for a strike.
Well, Mike J., it's all about good mojo, good footing, and good footwork, and I think Pete's got some pretty good mojo going on those shoes. We'll show you here in a minute. You see him slipping there, but when you have great timing, great arm swing, and a great release, and your name is Pete Weber, you get away with that. And speaking of good mojo on the footwork, on the shoes, the signatures of Terrell Owens and Billie Jean King.
Even heroes have heroes. Now Fagan for Motown. Oh boy, and he also gets a good result.
All right, fellas, come on. All right, kid.
The Motown Muscle, owned by Jerome Bettis, managed by Del Ballard Jr., features Fagan as a franchise player. Lefty Mike Scroggins with Chris Loschetter, Tom Doherty, and Brian Kretzer.
Lost Tom Smallwood and Ronnie Russell to free agency, and Jesse Buss no longer in the league competition. Also, the manager is a great story there. We'll tell you here in a minute.
Fagan, 10-pin.
Team manager for Mike Fagan's Motown Muscle is Del Ballard Jr., Hall of Famer Del Ballard Jr. Did you see Mike Fagan here working on a double, even a flat 10? The manager for Pete Weber's New York City WTT Kingpins, Del Ballard's wife, Hall of Famer Carolyn Dorn Ballard. I'm not sure I want to get between those two. I can promise you which one will be the more vocal of the two, though.
Fagan on the spare as the husband and wife managers look on. 1 point on the line in our singles competition between our franchise players. The same for doubles and trios, but 3 points at stake in the final event of the day, the 5-on-5 Baker team competition. A total of 4 points wins today's match. Weber looking to double here, third frame. And the Hall of Famer drops 10 back. Who can forget one of the purest shots ever with everything on the line?
Well, I mean, this was vintage PDW. He needed all 3 in the 10th to win by a pin.
And the man who lost to Weber by that single pin, none other than Mike Fagan.
Who do you think you are?
Fifth U.S. Open title, an all-time record. As Tracy looks on, sharing in that moment at the U.S. Open. Now Weber and a turkey.
Come on, boys.
I just think it's truly amazing at age 51 what Weber's doing out here. Now he's staring down the other team. Again, just more PDW. Take a look at one of the most efficient swings I've ever seen in my 33-plus years out here. Pete Weber's just got that incredible swing, incredible timing, and that incredible touch at the bottom of the swing.
Strike for Fagan in the fourth for the Motown Muscle.
Really nice shot by Mike Fagan as he takes a re-rack on the left lane. This kid has learned how to bowl out here, working on being versatile. Mike Fagan won his first major just a couple of years ago, winning the USBC Masters, beating Chris Barnes. Once he got confident in what he was doing, he started winning out here. And again, this is one of the top players on the tour today.
Fagan rings a 10-pin.
Sorry, guys.
You know, and that's the lane you expect it on, because the left lane has been tighter than the right lane, meaning that the ball's going to push a little bit longer down the lane before it starts to make its move into the pocket. And anytime that happens, the ball gets behind the head pin just a little, and you're going to leave a ringing 10-pin for a right-hander.
Fagan familiar with team competition, a 4-time member of Team USA and a 3-time All-American at St. John's earlier this century. Picks up the spare.
All right, guys, come on. Great shot. Slide down a bit. Thanks.
Now Pete Weber owns an 11-pin lead and a couple of strikes here. Fifth frame. 1 point to the team. Team with the most points following doubles, trios, and Baker team competition will advance to the semifinals. Beautiful open hand release, and Pete increases the lead to 21.
Yeah, there's no grab in that release. You know, when you see that hand of Weber's and those fingers pointing straight to the ceiling, that's when he's at his best. That's when there's no grab at the bottom, and that soft hand and release come into play. Watch this. Open hand, elbow cups, hand to the inside part of the ball, then the fingers get underneath and rotate around the ball, kind of like throwing an underhand spiral with a football.
Weber spare and four-bagger now working sixth frame with the advantage for New York City.
Look out.
Oh, 7-10 split.
Well, he didn't deserve that. He got it right of target. The ball hooked back enough to get to the pocket, and he leaves the pocket 7-10 split. Guy sitting right behind Pete, right there, Mark Roth, made it once. Only one of 3 players to make it on TV.
And Mark Roth, his name is on the MVP trophy for this PBA league, will be awarded following our competition. And once our Elias Cup champion is crowned. Opening match, franchise players. Pete Weber still has the advantage. We'll see if Fagan can climb back in when we return to Thunderbowl Lanes. The PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. And by Radical Bowling Technologies. Wow, that's radical. PBA League action continues at Thunderbowl Lanes in Ellen Park, Michigan. The defending Elias Cup champions. Time for an Ebonite flashback.
Well, last year's Elias Cup Finals was all about NYC Kingpins, and it was led by that man right there. Pete Weber just dominated this team competition. John Zerbinski was solid, but it was Pete Weber time after time again. Tommy Jones throwing strikes in the mix. This team threw the last 7 strikes in a row to win. Another strike by Zerbinski. Scott Norton striking from the left side. But it was Pete Weber. Took his team to victory.
With team owner Billie Jean King in attendance. Action now continues in this quarterfinal between Motown and New York City. Fagan trails by 7 pins, looking to capitalize on the Weber open frame, 6th frame.
I think I just ruptured an eardrum.
PBA League format features singles, alternate shot doubles, and trios with 1 point apiece. Team competition, 5-player Baker, good for 3 points. In the event of a tie, there will be a 1-ball roll-off to determine the champion. Fagan trying to double.
And with that strike right there and the open frame by Weber in the 6th, Mike Fagan takes the 3-pin lead. Another beautiful shot by Fagan. The only thing he's left standing is a couple of 10 pins. Everything else is strikes.
Back over to Pete Weber. Team mantra, if one got pumped. And that ball overhooks. 2-4, 7-10.
And there's the friction that we've been talking about on the right lane, and it just reared its ugly head and bit Pete Weber. Watch this. That slow ball speed and that axis rotation, that ball spinning sideways, ball cuts right through the nose, leaving the 3-4-7-10. I don't think there's a better player that I've ever seen in my 30-plus years on tour that's better at shooting this split conversion. Whether it's that or a 3-6-7-10 combination, there's none any better than Weber at shooting that, even though he was unable to convert that split.
So back-to-back opens for Weber, and the New York City WTT Kingpins has now opened the door wide for Motown and Fagan. Best Weber can do now is 233. Third arrow, mixing strike.
I mean, even in that shot, you can see the lack of down lane ball reaction, that left lane being a little bit slicker than the right lane, and now Pete's got to make an adjustment on that right lane. Take another look from profile Weber's style, that open hand again, going pretty straight for him on that left lane because of the amount of oil in the middle part of the lane.
Oh, man.
Well, there's the exact same split that Weber left, with the exception of the 10-pin not being there. Same kind of hit. Ball cuts right through the heart. Watch the down lane reaction right there. 10-pin falls late. 3-4-7.
I think I can make it.
He's going to try to slide it over. A lot of folks, depending on whether or not they would want to not lose the count, would just try to shoot and convert the 4-7. The problem is if you try to go for this and you try to slide the 3 over into the 4 and the 7 and you miss the 3-pin, you're going to lose a lot of count.
Seemed to me Mike was doing some math there, adding that up.
Doing the math, looking at the scoreboard, trying to figure out how he wants to attempt this. He's going for it.
And a great conversion. Down go the 3, the 4, and the 7. Let's take another look at the hammer, tough, spare replay.
Well, this is just perfect. This is what Weber tried to do, but Weber missed the 3-pin. Fagan slides the 3 into the 4 and 7. Magical.
So Fagan blowing into his thumb hole, little moisture. Habit of many players. And flat 10-pin.
Sorry, guys. Okay.
And the flat 10 created by a lack of power. The bowling ball not driving through the pins hard enough to get the 6 to go to the sidewall and kick the 10 out. With a spare here, Fagan can max out at 225. Weber now in the driver's seat. He can strike out for 233.
Spare conversion for Mike Fagan.
Pick me up. Damn it.
So Weber, after the back-to-back opens, fills the box with a strike in the 8th, and now chance to double and cut into the lead. Weber tied for 3rd all-time in PBA Tour titles with 37 and member of the defending Elias Cup champions. Team competition, though. You got a manager and 4 other players on the bench riding along with you. 9th frame. Weber delivers. Cuts the lead to 2.
Yeah, it's just a great shot by one of the most prolific players in the history of professional bowling as he takes a re-rack on the left lane, made the right adjustment, executed perfectly, and that ball was perfect in the 1-3 pocket. Now Pete Weber can step up here in the 10th frame, throw 2 more strikes, and get good count. The match is over. Well, Tracy likes it. Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, the team manager, liked it. I guarantee you this man liked it. On this left lane, Pete Weber can try to roll it a little bit more to get that ball to pick up a little sooner. 1 more strike, 3 pins. And the first point will go to the New York City WTT Kingpins.
That's a little high, and he gets the 4-9 to fall.
Was there any doubt? I mean, just Pete Weber carry. I mean, that's just that's what he does, and it's what he's been doing for a long time.
And secures the victory, does Weber.
It's almost poetic justice, though. He left the pocket 7-10. He comes back, trips the 4-9 for the win. And when you're the Motown Muscle, you're sick to your stomach watching that. But hey, it's Pete Weber.
Senior carry.
Getting the best of Mike Fagan once again in this singles match. 1 point to New York City. Looking ahead to our doubles matchup. Weber will continue and team up with John Zerbinski. For the Motown Muscle, Fagan will remain.
You can put in a sub, right?
And team in with Chris Loschetter coming up in doubles.
You can put in a sub, right? You can put in a sub, no?
Fagan may be better served throwing this one himself since he's in doubles.
Okay.
I think he's better served letting Loschetter throw a couple of shots here. If Loesch can strike on this ball, he gets to throw another ball for another strike. Even if he doesn't strike, throw another strike ball, get warmed up for the match that's going to take place after this. Loesch is in the doubles with Fagan, as you mentioned, so why not? Put him in.
Nice opening shot for Chris Loschetter in a losing effort here in this singles game. The point has already gone to New York City, but Fagan thinking and going with putting Loschetter in for a shot or two. Interesting strategy here. Open substitutions in all of our competitions, singles, doubles, and trios. Once the player is entered, they must stay in for the remainder of the game. So Lochetter's got a couple of pitches in, and New York City takes a 1-0 lead in this PBA League quarterfinal. 1-0 to our defending champions. When we return, doubles competition for a point. Chris Loschetter and Mike Fagan team up for Motown. Fagan with the big spare conversion, and Weber gets the roll on the 4-9 and takes the point. He'll team up with John Zerbinski when we return to the PBA League. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. Quarterfinal between New York City and Motown. Final score in singles for 1 point. 232-225. New York City now leads 1-0. Greetings from the Motor City. Mike Jakubowski with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. And sometimes you just get the number. We saw the highlight. Mike Fagan defeated at the U.S. Open in that famous 5th Open by Pete Weber. And Weber gets the best of him again here in singles and team competition.
Yeah, a lot more Weber magic in that singles match against Fagan. And it was so atypical Pete Weber. You know, he got off to a really good start, and then he went back-to-back splits, and then somehow was able to just pick himself up, dust himself off, and gets up in the 10th frame, needing a double. He throws the first one perfect, and then just some more PDW magic. Watch this. trips the 4-9 late for the victory. Vintage PDW.
And we're bowling on the 42-foot oil pattern, which has been dyed blue, and it really gives us an interesting look from a couple of different vantage points of what the players face, both in the laydown area and then what happens when the ball reacts down lane.
Well, yeah, it also shows you what transition looks like. So take a look at the lane on the left. That's before practice, so the oil is fresh on the lane. And then after the singles event that you just watched, look at the ball marks, the laydown area right here in the first, say, 4 or 5 feet of the lane. Go ahead and run it. And you can see the ball tracks on the right side. You can see the blue starting to lighten up right there at the third arrow. You can see the ball track. And this is just after the singles competition. So this whole pattern breaks down really, really quickly. And I think the blue dye is awesome because the viewers at home get a chance to see just how quickly the lanes transition.
And now Kimberly Pressler is laneside with both of our managers, Carolyn Doran Ballard and Del Ballard Jr. for Motown.
Thanks, Mike. Carolyn, you bring a lot of team bowling experience to the Kingpins, but how do you translate that into managing a team?
Well, it's funny, I know all the guys on the team, and I was very honored when I was asked to be one of the managers. And it's more about team chemistry. I mean, you can put the 5 greatest bowlers in the world together, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. So it's more about team chemistry. That's how we picked our team, and we're having a great time. We kept in touch the whole time before this event took place, so we feel pretty good together.
Talking about chemistry, there's a little personal competition going on here. Carolyn and Del, you guys are married. You guys are on opposing teams, managers for each of the teams. But Del, Carolyn told me she is the better bowler. So how much do you want to beat her here today?
Let's just say when she got off the airplane, she was called the enemy. I hate to lose at everything, and I think everybody at home knows that. So she gets it too.
All right, well, good luck to both of your teams.
Del Ballard being more than a little modest in that interview. Let's take a look back now at a historic matchup between Del and New York City franchise player Pete Weber. The year 1987, where Del took home his first career PBA title and doing it in a major no less. At the United States Open, Ballard easily defeated Weber 247 to 209 for the $100,000 prize, the first 6-figure payday ever in the history of professional bowling. The future Hall of Famer would go on to win a total of 13 PBA titles, including another U.S. Open in 1993, as well as the 1988 USBC Masters and the 1989 Tournament of Champions. Coming up, Del Ballard sends out Chris Lowshatter and Mike Fagan to go up against his 87 U.S. Open rival Pete Weber and John Zerbinski in alternate shot doubles. Next.
PBA League action rolls on at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The New York City WTT Kingpins up 1-0 and a 1-point doubles game. Alternate shot, Randy.
We used to call that Scotch doubles. If Lowshatter doesn't strike here, his partner Fagan has to get up and shoot a spare.
Come on, run it down, bud.
So Fagan will need to pick up the spare. Here is your doubles format. Alternate shot. Player throws a strike. The next player will also bowl the second. If the player does not strike, the second player will pick up the spare, just like right now. Fagan fills the frame for Motown. All right. Come on. Pick me up. Now John Zerbinski steps up, teaming up with Pete Weber. Zerbinski is a 4-time member of Team USA and currently a member of Team USA.
I thought John Zerbinski did a nice job last year in this league competition. I thought it was a nice compliment to the Kingpins. It's no wonder Weber kept him on the roster.
Come on, get it.
He threw a lot of clutch strikes for that team throughout that competition. And I know Pete Weber's pretty high on this kid. He's an up-and-comer.
Weber in the alternate shot doubles format on the spare.
Yeah, you didn't bring Weber to the dance to shoot spares. So Zerbinski needs to throw a strike here.
Works with Jack Jurek at Transit Lanes. Works in the pro shop. Big, strong kid with a big paw.
That's better.
Oh, 10 pin.
All right, Pete.
Take chances sitting there.
Pretty good shot there for a soft 10 on the left lane, and you're going to leave a weak 10. It's going to be on that lane because the left lane is played tighter than the right lane throughout the competition.
Just behind is Mark Roth, considered one of the great spare shooters of all time, and I think Pete Weber's spare game has been underrated over time. Pete Weber, I think, follows in those footsteps. Pete Weber is one of the greatest spare shooters of all time.
Oh, without question. As we see the great Mark Roth, PBA Hall of Famer. I was told that Mark Roth shot a 240 game the other day using 2 steps and a plastic ball.
Great to see Mark and Denise here. Mark, of course, has his name on the MVP trophy, which will be awarded following our Elias Cup finals. And a strike for Chris Loschetter.
I'll tell you what was nice was finally seeing Chris Loschetter win his first title last season.
That win in the Lucas Oil PBA Wolf Open was a long time coming for Loschetter. It took 9 years and 154 tournaments for Loschetter to finally get to the winner's circle, and he did it against one of the tour's top pros, Bill O'Neill. After opening with a double, Loschetter faltered slightly, but then roared back to life, stringing together a 7-bagger to defeat O'Neill 264-231.
He's one of the most likable guys out on the PBA Tour. Just a great guy, and it was fun watching him win.
And he has fed his partner Fagan here in doubles with a strike. Fagan can double up. Third frame.
Double it is. Remember, the winner of this match today advances. The loser is out of the competition. Mike Fagan rolls it beautifully right there, keeping it nice and tight on that left lane, and that's 10 in the pit.
Now Zerbinski looking to get on the board with a strike, give his partner a chance to double. Third frame.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Mike J., the longer Zerbinski goes without striking, the more pressure is going to be on him. And, you know, for a newcomer to this and to the TV shows and bowling with a guy like Pete Weber, that's the last thing you want to have happen. So right now, big sigh of relief for John Zerbinski. Now it's up to PDW to double up and get back in this match.
Weber first crack at a full rack here in the 1-point match. New York City is up 1-0 in this match. Fourth frame. Mixing strike double for Weber and for New York City.
Well, the great Billy Whaley once said, hit him thin and watch him spin, and that's exactly what Pete Weber did right here. He doesn't have the highest rev rate on tour. In fact, he's not a real high rev guy at all, but he's got the greatest and probably the most axis rotation of any player on tour.
Motown's got a double working, fourth frame, trying to extend their lead. Loschetter delivers a quality shot.
And when you talk about axis rotation, you can see the shot Loschetter just threw. There's much more roll to that shot. Pete Weber's bowling ball is rolling more sideways. Watch this now. The hand more behind the bowling ball at release. You can see this is much more end over end in terms of rotation. The smooth ball reaction in the back part of the lane is a direct result of that. Pete Weber much more off the side of the ball, creating more side rotation.
So Turkey working now, 5th frame for the Motown Muscle.
You know, Fagan doing a little bit of the same thing where these two players are trying to keep their hands underneath the bowling ball, roll it more to keep the ball more on line. Zerbinski's another guy that really rolls it, heavy roll. Weber not in that category.
Zerbinski, 5th frame. Spare double for New York City, up a point in this quarterfinal match, 5th frame.
Oh, my.
Pretty good.
Oh. Come on, Pete. Well, this is just unlucky. Watch the pin action. Ball gets to the head pin, drives the 5 straight back. Solid 8.
Man, I'd take another shot like that.
Come on.
Well, Zerbinski's trying to get back on the strike train here after that awful break in the 5th frame. Needs a strike here in the 6th to get his team back to its striking ways.
That's right.
Well, he deserves that.
Absolutely. The 10 is obliterated and a strike for New York City.
This is a messenger. Head pin going to the sidewall, and it just absolutely destroys the 10 pin.
Zerbinski strikes, but the hometown Motown Muscle trying to flex their muscle, get back, and even this at a point apiece. Doubles will complete, trios to come at the PBA League. The PBA League is in session. Doubles action continues here at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. And let's Bioblast. The owner of the Motown Muscle is Jerome Bettis, former NFL great, 13-year career, 6-time Pro Bowl selection. The winner of the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, ranked 6th all-time in NFL rushing yards, over 13,000. Kimberly has a Columbia 300 fun fact. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. In June of 2006, Jerome Bettis, the PBA League owner of the Motown Muscle, actually became the first person inducted into the celebrity wing of the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame.
Jerome Bettis, lover of the sport of bowling, owner of this Motown Muscle Club. As we continue, New York City leads 1-0, and Motown is attempting to even things up. Trios yet to come, followed by a 3-point Baker team match.
Jerome Bettis has several 300 games to his credit. If you've ever watched him bowl, you know his nickname was the Bus for a number of reasons. His bowling ball hit like one as well.
Low shedder.
Strike! Whoa, almost another solid 8 on that right lane. He just told Mike Fagan and manager Del Ballard 2-1. What does that mean? That means he moved 2 boards left with his feet and 1 board left with his target before he threw this shot coming out of commercial break.
Take a look at that Motown bench and the New York City bench. Kretzer, Scroggins, and Doherty warming up. And Norton, Peters, and Williams for their trios match next.
Mike Fagan made the same 2-1 adjustment on the left lane. I wonder if Pete Weber and John Zerbinski were eavesdropping and heard that both players had made this move. You know, that's part of the deal on bowling on television, is anticipating and making the adjustments before your bowling ball goes high. If you wait until the ball goes high, guess what? You're going to lose. Pete Weber made a ball change here. Let's see if it works out for him.
Kingpins still have 2:58 left. 7th frame.
You know, the other thing that side rotation does, Mike J, is it really increases pin carry. It keeps the pins low, and it creates a tremendous amount of pin carry. And that's why Pete is able to keep up with the high rev guys. His pin carry is generally really good, and a lot of that is attributed to the fact that he gets his hand off the side of the ball and he has so much side rotation.
Zerbinski now up for New York City. They trail by 32. They have a double working. 8th frame. 1 point to the winner. New York leads 1-0. Oh, rings a 10. Gosh. So a solid 8 and a ring 10 is the difference thus far in this game.
Yeah, Zerbinski's got no luck, no good mojo going for him. And all Pete Weber can do now is step up and shoot another tap. You see the 6 go around the 10 pin. And just, you know, no luck. And he's making good shots. His ball's not entering the pocket properly, and that's why you leave a ring 10. That's why you leave a solid 8. The solid 8, bad luck. He left the 10 pin in the second. Zerbinski left the 4 pin in the first. So a lot of times when you have bad carry, it's just, you know, you're not matched up right with the right equipment, and your bowling ball is not reading and going through the pins the right way.
6-bagger working for Motown. Loshedder mixes, kicks the 7 out.
See, and there's the difference. You know, as Loshedder's ball enters the pins, it's going in a little softer. He gets the good pin carry. And, you know, this is what makes this game so great. You know, you look at the 2 reactions, and I got to be honest with you, I like John Zerbinski and Chris Loshedder's in terms of how it's entering the pins, and it's not right in terms of pin carry.
Doing the deal.
I'd much rather see that little stronger reaction going through the pins, and maybe that's why I get 9 a lot, too.
Fagan in the foundation frame. That's about going to even things up.
Motown muscle here in Detroit, just muscling up on Pete Weber and the Kingpins, bringing Kretzer in as a sub to quite possibly bowl the 10th frame for this team.
Open substitution policy here in any of the matches, and once the player goes in, he stays in.
So we could have 2? Yeah, we could have, since we're both out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which lane do you want to throw on?
Oh, 1 so. My bad.
And a substitution for New York City as Jake Peters will come in and get a crack here
So you got to throw on
in the
right.
9th frame with an eye toward
Right.
the trios game coming up next.
Lane's tighter. Get in there a little bit more.
Two-8, Doublewood.
Well, we told you earlier about Chris Loshedder taking more than 9 years to win a PBA title. On the other side of that coin would be Jake Peters. He won his first PBA title in his first ever television appearance, posting a 245-212 victory against Josh Blanchard in the Lucas Oil Badger Open last summer in Milwaukee.
Talk a little strategy with Weber.
Weber's telling him the adjustment to make on that left lane based off of the 280 left on the right lane.
John, I know you're older than me. Quiet.
So the match is over. They bring in the subs to try to get a feel for the TV lanes and the oil pattern. Players did get practice prior to the start of the event, but the lanes have changed a lot.
We're even. even at 1-1 New York City, and Detroit 8-bagger for Motown has evened up this match. PBA League is in session. We will return with trios next.
The PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. By Columbia 300, grab some friends, have some fun, let's bowl. And by Storm, bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowlers company.
This PBA League quarterfinal is tied at 1-1. The victory going to Motown Muscle in doubles. Final score 268-214. Extra Frame, the PBA's online video subscription service, is now available as an app for your mobile device. Check out Extra Frame on your iPad, iPhone, or Android. This week, Extra Frame features live streaming of every round from the USBC Masters. Don't miss any of the action. Head over to PBA.com and click on the Extra Frame link for more information. Let's throw it down laneside now to Kimberly Pressler.
Mike, you and Chris seem to play really well together in the doubles match. You got 8 strikes in a row. How does it feel to be bowling that well?
Well, when we got things rolling, obviously Chris was coming in cold, so he left me an easy spare in the first frame, and then it was just really simple after that with the Scotch format. I stay on my lane, he stays on his, and we get a lot of strikes going.
It worked very well for you guys. Now, Chris, the lanes have changed quite a bit since the start of the show. What advice did you give to your trios team?
Well, we told them to look out for the moves. They break down quite a bit. I made a couple moves in the doubles match. Mike helped me with it. Made a little 2-1 on the right lane. So just stay ahead of it. I think if they keep moving left, they won't go high. They'll be okay. So.
Good advice. Good luck to you guys.
Randy, we're even at 1-1. The difference in that last match, really the 8-bagger by Motown and the poor carry by John Zerbinski.
Yeah, well, that was great advice that Chris Loschetter just gave to Kimberly Pressler. They stayed ahead of the moves. They made the 2-1 adjustment coming out of commercial break, and that's what enabled them to string that 8-bagger. Another beautiful strike right there, almost a solid 8. And yes, the bad carry by Zerbinski did factor in. But these two were able to string strikes and stay on the same lane, shot after shot after shot. That was a huge difference.
And now we've got trios coming up. We're tied at 1-1, and a couple of new players coming in for Motown, a couple of different styles. For the Muscle, it's Tom Doherty. And then on the other side of the coin, it's Stuart Williams for the Kingpins.
Yeah, very contrasting differences between the two. Tom Doherty doesn't use his thumb. A very unique style. He's using his thumb right now because he's shooting a spare, but he doesn't use his thumb. Very unique start to his approach, and then a tremendous amount of power and revolutions at the bottom of the swing. Stu Williams, on the other hand, a lot more conventional. He's a very heavy roller, keeps his hand underneath it, an abbreviated follow-through, but he really rolls it heavy. He's very good at creating room on the lane, creating angles, because he's great at controlling his ball speed, but two very contrasting styles.
So trios coming up next. We're tied at 1-1. The winner will go up 2-1 when we return to the PBA League. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The Motown Muscle deeply miss teammate Ryan Schaefer. Brian Kretzer filling in for Ryan. And our best wishes and thoughts and prayers with Ryan and his family at this time. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago at the Tournament of Champions the unexpected loss of Ryan's wife, and we all feel deeply for Ryan and his family.
Tragic, tragic, very sad. And, I've known Ryan Schaefer for over 30 years, and Ryan, we miss you, I miss you, and we love you, man.
Kretzer filling in for Ryan Schaefer, and he opens this trios game with a high hit and a 4-pin. And the difference here, Randy, is you finish your own frames. Take a look at our PBA League trios lineup. Kretzer will lead off, and he'll ball the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th after this first frame. Lefty Mike Scroggins will take 2, 5, and 8. Tom Doherty will take frames 3, 6, and 9. So you finish your own frame.
Easy there.
Supposed to be curved right there, isn't there? Everybody else is throwing their curved strike balls.
Well, not so much on the left lane, Brian. That left lane is slick in the middle.
So a couple southpaws featured in this trios match for 1 point, and Scott Norton will work the left side of the lane for the Kingpins. Seven pin.
No. I didn't want to waste one on the first frame, though.
Looks like a pretty good shot to leave that weak 7. First look at Southpaws in this matchup, Kingpins versus the Motown Muscle. But both teams sporting Southpaws, as you mentioned.
All right.
All right, Jake, come on now.
Shot here. Start us off, all right? Come on.
Here's New York City's lineup for trios.
Jake Peters now second to bowl for the Kingpins.
Light, just the 2-pin.
You know, it's tough when you're a player that's been sitting and watching, and you go over and warm up on the practice pair, and then you come over to the TV pair, and you only get a couple of practice shots. You're not really sure how the pair is broken down or how your bowling balls are going to react, and you better figure it out in 1 or 2 shots.
Jake Peters out of the great Wichita State program that has produced such great names as Sean Rash and Chris Barnes over the years. And Peters picks up the spare. 3 bowlers per team, and the player 1 will bowl, followed by player 2 and 3 will repeat. The leadoff player will bowl the 10th frame, and Mike Scroggins now will work the left side of the lane for the Motown Muscle.
And whenever there's a Mike Scroggins sighting, you know what's to follow. Party at Scroggins. There it is. It's good to see Mike back. I know he's been kind of battling some injuries and some health issues, but it's nice to see Mike Scroggins back. One of the nice guys out here. Boy, we've seen that form before. This guy was a human ATM machine for quite a few years out here before he got injured.
He dealt with some plantar fasciitis issues in his right foot before coming back. Now Tom Doherty's unique style. Look at that ball come back. Strike for Tom Doherty and Motown. So double for Motown gives them an 11-pin lead. We're tied at 1-1. Our first look at Stuart Williams, the British Beefcake, bowling for the Kingpins.
I just can't get over that nickname.
It's the initials, BBC. England Stuart Williams toes the line here in the 3rd. Similar line to Doherty, similar results.
Yeah, but that's the only similarity is because his rev rate's about half of what Doherty's is. But Stu Williams is one of the funniest, most clever guys you'll ever meet. Boy, is he witty. Pretty good bowler, too.
Hails from Liverpool, so he has that Liverpudlian cheekiness, no doubt.
Yeah, but he lives in Phoenix now.
Hey, you can't take the Liverpool out of him. Scott Norton, holding the 1st, back up in the 4th. Double up.
Come on, guys. Go. What now?
Norton's smile lights up the place, and that strike ball just lit up the pocket. And the Motown Muscle lead is down to 1. Now Kretzer working on a couple of strikes here, 4th frame after he bowled the 1st. Rotating through in trios competition. Kretzer steps on it. Turkey.
Boy, you know, the last time we saw Brian Kretzer throw it that straight, he won his first and only title out here. Brian not known for throwing it down and in, but he worked on it and worked on it and worked on it and finally broke through with a win, doing it again quite nicely there.
Brian, winner of the Go RVing Match Play Championship, he defeated Patrick Allen in a 3-game total pinfall match to earn his title. Back over to Scroggins. We've got striking shoes on here. 5th frame. Scroggy wiggles the 7.
And that's the tight left lane. Mike Scroggins struggles getting the ball up to the 1-2 pocket strong enough, and he leaves that weak 7. He takes out his Motown muscle plastic spare ball. Throw it straight and hard at the 7-pin.
So Scroggy fills the box in the 5th. Advantage over to the Kingpins now on the strike and the multiplying effect of the X in the box. As Jake Peters steps up now, a chance to even things up. In the event of a tie in this game, the point would be split evenly. Oh, no, a lot better. Horrible result. 7-10 split.
Well, he liked it off his hand, but the end result was awful. Another pocket 7-10 for NYC Kingpins. Check it out. Remember, this 7-10 split's only been converted 3 times in the history of television.
Gave it a run. The pins do jump out of the back in this facility. It's an open frame for New York City after the opportunity to tie things up. It now has them in a hole.
From the frying pan into the towering inferno. I mean, they had a chance to pull even, and now they're down 24 pins with 1 shot thrown, and it was all due to just a bad break. Stu Williams needs a strike here in the 6th to turn this ship around.
Williams' title came at the 2011 Bayer Viper Open at the World Series of Bowling. Defeated Ildemaro Ruiz. Strikes does Williams.
Stu Williams just opening up both the right and left lanes. Watch this ball bend. He's throwing the big curve ball. That ball starts at about 5th arrow on the left, out to about the 6th board and back. Snaps the 10 out. Hey, folks, stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk track flare. You see the rings of oil on those bowling balls? I'm going to tell you what that means. Lots more action to come your way here from Detroit. Stay with us.
PBA League returns to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. New York City WTT Kingpins and the Motown Muscle in the middle of a quarterfinal. And let's talk track flare with Randy's Track Tech Talk.
Well, you can see the oil rings around the bowling ball. But back 30 years ago, you would only see 1 ring, because back then the balls we used, the core or the inside part of the bowling ball was very stable. But with today's high-powered bowling balls and dynamic cores, the inside of the ball is very unstable. The ball hits the lane, it tracks closest to the thumb hole. That's the initial line of oil. And then from there, the ball starts, or the track starts to flare. The reason why it flares is because the bowling ball is rotating and it's trying to find its most stable orientation. And that track will continue to flare until the ball hits the pins. The track flares onto a fresh surface of the bowling ball, creating hook and power.
So the ability to control that track flare is what makes the use of that ball the ball to go to in that situation. Is that correct?
The ability to control the track flare, or the amount of track flare, is based on the rev rate of the player, the strength of the bowling ball, the surface of the bowling ball, how the bowling ball is drilled, and the layout that you're using. That controls the track flare.
And here's somebody that can create track flare. As Doherty up. Not enough, though. 2-pin.
Yeah, that's where Tom Doherty could have used a little bit more flare, because that ball skated or scooted a little bit too far down the lane, came off the end of the pattern, and didn't grab the lane surface. The only thing that Tom needed there was just a little bit softer speed, and that ball would have hooked up into the pocket.
Doherty earned his PBA Tour title in 2012 at the Bowler's Journal Scorpion Championship at the World Series of Bowling. Picks up the spare for Motown. We're tied at 1-1 in this 1-point trios game. three-point team to follow.
I moved my eyes in. Fagan told me not to.
Kretzer steps up in the 7th frame, his 3rd crack in trios. Stepped out just a shade and a flat 10-pin.
Yeah, it looks like Brian's having some issues with the approach on that left lane. But it's still just a 10-pin and an easy single-pin spare. They're still up by 22 pins. Scott Norton getting up in the 7th frame. They're working on a strike. He needs to double up here for the Kingpins and get him back in this match.
Drills the pocket. Does Norton and cuts the lead down to 12 pins. Carolyn Doran-Ballard, the WTT Kingpins manager, 3-time major women's titleist, 2-time women's bowler of the year, 5-time member of Team USA, USBC Hall of Famer, inducted in 2008, and wife of PBA Hall of Famer Del Ballard Jr. As the Ballards go head-to-head here, and their teams face off in this quarterfinal match in the PBA League. Splits the 8-9 to Jake Peters.
Well, if you want to know who the better bowler in the family is, if you go strictly off titles, Carolyn's got 22 titles. Dell's only got 13. But I'm just saying.
Now Scroggins up in the 8th frame. Motown up by 2. Tied at 1 point here in trios. And on the other side of the aisle is PBA Hall of Famer, manager of the Motown Muscle, Del Ballard Jr. As Randy mentioned, 13 titles with 4 majors, inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame in 2009 and voted the 29th greatest player in PBA history in that same year. Doherty up from Motown with a 2-pin lead in the foundation frame. 10 back.
A little better. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, there's only one Pete Weber in the world, and he's 51. It's a shame that people don't remember just how great of a bowler Del Ballard Jr. was when he was in his prime on this tour. He was one of the best ever, and you don't win 4 majors not having any talent, and Del Ballard was about as good as they got out here.
Stuart Williams with a very important shot for New York City here in the foundation frame on a couple of strikes. Needs to put the pressure on Motown.
And he does it. I'm not sure Stu Williams shouldn't have been the anchor bowler for this team. I mean, he's been rock solid. He's thrown 3 shots. He's struck all 3 times. Now he's given the Kingpins a chance to win this game. Scott Norton needs to strike out for 245. That would leave the door open for Brian Kretzer. Brian Kretzer strikes out for Motown Muscle. They shoot 247.
So basically a mirror frame here in the 10th. Whatever Norton does, Kretzer will need to repeat. 10th frame. Bang! Drills the pocket for Norton.
One more shot puts all the pressure back on Brian Kretzer and Motown Muscle.
So that first hit forces a Motown strike in the 10th, and now with a double in the 10th, he can force Kretzer to throw 2 strikes as well.
Remember, the winner of this match advances. The loser is eliminated from competition.
Little distraction out in the audience, and Scott pulls up and will reset mentally. What's the reset process to forget that and go right back?
Just go right back through your routine. You know, whatever your routine is, you repeat it.
Double to force Kretzer to do the same. 10th. And 7-pin stance.
That was a good shot considering he had to back off, but the ball just hits too softly and leaving another soft 7 on that left lane. Looked like a pretty good shot up until it hit the pins, and weak 7 still standing. Now Kretzer, story's pretty simple. He needs to strike and 8 spare, and they'll win this match. They'll take a 2-1 lead going into the team event.
2:34 final for the defending Alliance Cup champions.
I thought that one was.
So Kretzer steps up, must strike on the first shot, or the point goes to New York City.
Great shot by BK. Needs 8 spare. 9 out would win. 9 on the first ball. It's over. And we'll move on to the team event.
That's a winner. Motown picks up the point, goes up 2-1. 3 points remaining in our team game. 2 quality shots from Kretzer when they needed it most.
Really good. Really good there in the 10th frame. Brian Kretzer got it done. Good stuff.
Motown's going to give Loschetter a substitution here and a chance to throw one more shot on the pattern. And a 2:47 final. So Motown goes up 2-1. And let's take a look at the Barbasol close shave of the day. Brian Kretzer strikes to clinch the point for Motown. When we come back, team competition. 5 players will combine for 1 team score. The winner will advance in the PBA League. Stay tuned. More action coming next. PBA League continues at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. New York City Kingpins against Motown Muscle. Detroit now up 2-1. And our team are warming up for the 3-point match coming up next. Next Sunday on ESPN at 3 Eastern. It's the final round of the United States Bowling Congress Masters. Join us next Sunday at 3 Eastern on ESPN. Randy has the Geico Championship recap.
All right, Mike, Jay, thanks very much. Match number 1, Mike Fagan against PDW, Pete Weber. After Pete Weber goes back-to-back open frames with splits, Mike Fagan throws a split of his own. But guess what? Look at him slide the 3 into the 4-7 to convert. What a great shot. But it was all up to Pete Weber. Pete needs a double in the 10th frame to seal the deal. There's the first hit. Then he steps up, second ball in the 10th frame, and just like PDW style, a little magic to trip the 4-9 out and steal the victory. Then in our doubles match, again, it was Mike Fagan and Chris Loschetter taking on Pete Weber and John Zerbinski. And this was the Loesch and Fagan show. These guys kept striking and striking and striking. One after another. Just beautiful shots. 10-pin parties in the pit. Strike after strike. 8 in a row in all. This match wasn't even close. Fagan and Loschetter win 268 to 214. Then in our last match, you just watched the trio. Scott Norton steps up in the 10th frame. He can throw a double to put all the pressure back on Brian Kretzer in the Motown Muscle. He gets the first hit, throws a pretty nice shot right here, only to get 9. Now it's Kretzer time. Brian needs the first hit and count to seal the deal for the Muscle. Guess what? It's 10 in the pit. Brian Kretzer comes through in the clutch, and Motown Muscle wins the trios competition.
Randy, the 42 feet of oil here for the PBA League has been dyed blue, and it really gives us an unprecedented look at what previously has been unseen, and it gives you the opportunity some very deep analysis.
Yeah, the invisible beast that used to control everything and still does. It controls the scoring environment, the scoring pace. It dictates how high or how low the scores are, how many strikes the players throw. Well, nobody could see it in the past. Guess what? Now you can. You can see the oil right here. Now, look at the lane on the left before practice. Lane on the right after practice. Freeze it right there. You can see how it lightens up right there around the third arrow from the right. That's where all the traffic is. Every time one of those bowling balls goes down the lane, it takes a little bit of that blue oil off with it. And you can see the lane breakdown right there. This is what the players have to stay in front of. They have to stay in front of the transition and the breakdown. The way they stay in front of that, well, let's just call it an educated guess.
Well, we've got one team game left remaining with 3 points. The winner will advance in the PBA League. New York City WTT Kingpins, Motown Muscle. Team competition, 1 game coming next. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes. PBA League rolls on. Team competition coming up next. 5-player Baker game to determine our winner between New York City and Motown. Bioblast time. Let's meet Billie Jean King, owner of the New York City WTT Kingpins, founder of World Team Tennis and Tennis Icon, 39 career Grand Slam titles. She founded the Women's Tennis Association, defeated Bobby Riggs in the unforgettable Battle of the Sexes in the Astrodome in 1973, owner of these Elias Cup champions, the New York City WTT Kingpins. Down 2-1 to Detroit. 3 points will go now to the winner of this final team match, and Stuart Williams gets things started for New York City.
This match is going to determine the fate of these teams. One team will move on, the other team will be eliminated.
And down goes the 10-pin.
Wow, that was way left. Woo! Oh, one more shot that I don't have to throw my spare ball.
What a nice break, getting the love tap on the 10. Watch this, the pin all the way to your left. 6-pin goes to the sidewall and just nudges the 10 out.
Chris Loschetter, he'll bowl the 1st and 6th for Motown in this 5-player team game. That gets wide and not the same return. 2-4-5 for Loschetter.
Remember, the players only get 2 shots each in this Baker-style format. Try to make the best of it. The key is to try to make great shots and string strikes. And right now, this is not the way Loschetter wanted to start, but if he converts to 2-4-5, no harm, no foul, really. Got away with it. Little double dribble.
What causes the double dribble?
Well, the player loses the ball early, spears it into the floor. Just doesn't get it off his hand properly. Sometimes it could be created by the launch angle being too high off the floor. And if you're bowling in a center that has bouncy heads, that'll happen. Not the case here. He just speared it into the front part of the lane.
Here's newlywed Jake Peters, just got married in September of last year. Here's a lineup for Motown. Loschetter completed the 1st frame. He'll bowl again in the 6th. Scroggins will take the 2nd and 7th. Kretzer, the hero in trios, bowls the 3rd and 8th. Dougherty and Fagan on the back end will fill the frames in the 9th and 10th. Scroggins from the left side through 42 feet of blue oil here in the 2nd.
I think this is a really nice pattern for both Mike Scroggins and Scott Norton, 2 southpaws that like to keep the ball and their target in front of them. They like to go down and in, and I think this is a pattern that's conducive to that because of the length. 42 feet of oil, I think that's a very comfortable length
of oil pattern for those two southpaws.
Scroggy turns 50. We'll see him as a rookie in PBA 50 action this season.
Thanks for the bad news.
Now Zerbinski, he'll join you out there. Zerbinski working on the strikes and avoids the 7-10.
This kid is snake bit. You know, his pin carry is awful and has been with every shot we've watched him throw.
Thank you.
League lineup for the Elias Cup champions: Stuart Williams, Jake Peters, Zerbinski, and then in the 9th and 10th, lefty Scott Norton and Hall of Famer Pete Weber.
Can Pete Weber bring some good mojo back to his team? Zerbinski right now has got to be feeling a little on the lonely side because he's making great shots, but unfortunately his pin carry has been awful. Remember, these two teams will flip-flop and change lanes after the 5th frame. Right now, Motown Muscle on the left lane. They'll move to the right lane to start the 6th frame.
Kretzer with that big double in the 10th in trios. Now attempting to double here in the 3rd. And flat 10.
And that's what you expect on the left lane, it being a little tighter and the players not getting the ball all the way flush, especially the players that are throwing it straighter. Brian locates his plastic spare ball.
Baker format consists of 5 bowlers per team. They combine to bowl 1 team line. Each player will bowl 2 frames. You complete your first 5 frames on one lane and then flip-flop on the other lane for the final 5 frames. 1 score per team. 3 points to the winner, and that will determine our overall winner. Norton drills the round. Interesting that Carolyn Doran Ballard put together the very emotional players on this squad. They have every ability to fire up and fire up the rest of that team.
Well, those personalities go well together.
Now Doherty up. Very unique style. Oh, brother, 8-pin.
I'm starting to have nightmares every time I see one of these stone 8-pins. That's the second one we've seen on this telecast, and I don't like looking at solid 8s. And there's a great reason for that. One that I don't want to get into.
Why, oh why, Randy?
Well, because I left one to lose the Touring Players Championship a few years back, to lose the tournament by 1 pin. So, you know, I just got out of therapy over that, and I really would prefer not to see a guy leave a solid 8 on television.
That was pretty good.
Very unique style of Tom Doherty. Let's take a look at it in this Dexter approach.
Well, he doesn't use his thumb. You can see his thumb on the side of the bowling ball. In the first couple of steps, very large, long steps. And then you can see the last 2, that stutter step sets him up to get into that power slide. And then he just unloads at the bottom of the swing. No thumb in the ball. He has to cup his wrist and his elbow to hold on to it. And when that straightens out at the bottom, it creates a lot of power.
Oh, jeez.
Weber didn't like it, and a light 8 there.
Wow.
Shaker.
Oh, I love it. Spare ball.
He hasn't thrown a shot in a while, and when you're 51 years old,
I almost sat right off my hand.
It's not good to sit for a long time. Pete didn't like that off his hand as soon as it left his hand. That's the downside with this Baker-style format. The older you get, the longer you have to sit, the stiffer your body gets, the harder it is to throw a shot.
Motown trails by 10. The winner will advance in the PBA League. The loser will be eliminated. First crack at the lanes here in the team game for Fagan. He's had to sit the first 4, working on the spare for Motown. 5th frame. Light. Oh. 2 in the 8. Double wood.
Shouldn't have moved.
He moved before he threw that shot, anticipating more breakdown. Didn't happen. almost a disaster leaving the 2-8, 10 falls late. Sometimes you can outthink yourself. You know, you think, hey, man, I better move because the lanes have to be breaking down. I've been sitting for a while. I haven't thrown a shot in a bit. And that time the anticipation was incorrect.
Covers the 2 and the sleeper 8. So spare.
We picked the left lane finish on, all right? So we finished.
The defending Elias Cup champions, New York City WTT Kingpins, have a 12-pin lead. Can they hold it and advance in the 2014 PBA League? The PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. By the USBC, the national governing body servicing the needs of bowling. To learn more, visit us on bowl.com. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol. The PBA League rolls on. 3 points will go to the winner of this team matchup between the New York City WTT Kingpins and the Motown Muscle. The winner will advance to the semifinals and face the LAX, who sent the Brooklyn Styles home last week. Other quarterfinal action to look forward to: the Dallas Strikers versus the Silver Lake Atom Splitters, and the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits against the Philadelphia Hitmen. Motown trails by 12 pins. They have switched lanes. They'll bowl the final 5 on this side. 6th frame. And a 2-8. So double wood for Loschetter on a light hit. Randy, what's the adjustment from the strike line to make the 2 and the 8?
I mean, a lot depends on the oil pattern. I mean, if you want to hook the ball into the 2-8, you can move 3, maybe 4 right, leave your target the same. You're trying to throw basically a flush Brooklyn shot. You know, there's some players on tour that throw the ball dead straight at the 2-8. Norm Duke is one that comes to mind. This oil pattern is not that difficult, and I think shooting the 2-8 is fairly easy because there is oil in the middle part of the lane, and there's a little bit of dry to the right, so all you have to do is make sure you're lined up with the throw strikes, 3 or 4 boards to the right of your strike ball, and I think you make it.
New York City plus 14, 6th frame. Stuart Williams, final toss. Sends it wide and roars it home. Ten back for Stewart, and the New York City leadoff man has done his job here today in the team match. 2 shots, 2 strikes. Up next, Mike Scroggins for the Motown Muscle.
God.
Well, Mike Scroggins obviously didn't like that shot, and for good reason. Pulled it, went through the nose, leaving the split. Well, he tried to slide the 6 over in the 7, Mike, and not to be. And again, with so much on the line in this match, you know, the loser goes home, the winner advances, and will move on to like you said, take on LAX. Right now, the Kingpins in the driver's seat, up 28 pins, 7th frame, working on a strike. Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, she knows the score.
Big shot for New York City WTT Kingpins. Peters trying to double. Drives it home and increases the lead.
And that's a big shot because that puts the Kingpins at 219. The best Motown Muscle can muster is 211 if they take it off the sheet.
Kretzer up in the 8th frame. And he carries.
I'll tell you what, he's done a nice job with that straight ball on this telecast. Came through in the 10th frame in the trios and comes through again in the team event portion. He left a weak 10 the last time he was up. He comes through nicely here in the 8th frame with a big strike.
Zerbinski, as he did in the Elias Cup Finals last season in the PBA League, he's got the hammer in hand and can really do some damage here for the Kingpins' 8th frame.
Yeah! Own it, baby! Boom!
Finally, Zerbinski gets rewarded. Another really good shot, and this one finally strikes. Boy, they made a nice adjustment when they flipped to the left lane after the first 5 frames, and this is just a beautiful shot once again by Zerbinski, and he gets the nice pin carry.
Tom Doherty up in the 9th. Doubles, does what he can do, cuts into that lead a little bit. Allows the Muscle, who can still max at 211.
Yeah, but right now you got the 2 hammers coming up for the Kingpins. You got Scott Norton, who is not going to miss the pocket, and then you've got, of course, PDW to finish the 10th frame.
And 7-pin stance.
And that's fine, because 9 spare in the 9th and 9 spare 9 in the 10th is as good as any strikes at this point. Again, this team is in the 220s. The best Motown Muscle can shoot 211. Now it's time to make sure that you don't lose focus and you convert a spare that you've made 1,000,000 times and probably make with your eyes closed.
We're good. Hold on. We're good.
Scott
We're good.
clips it on the left side, spare in the box in the 9th frame for the Kingpins. Mike Fagan can fill it up for 211 for the Muscle, and will need plenty of help in the 10th frame. And that will wrap it up.
Got it right.
Yeah. The defending Elias Cup champions, under the direction of Hall of Famer Carolyn Doran Ballard, have advanced and will face the LAX.
No, but I heard him. I think I thought it was going in the gutter when he first let it go.
Oh, no, absolutely not. We knew it was going to hook.
Disappointing for Motown Muscle and Del Ballard Jr. Pete Weber once again will advance on with his team, the Kingpins. Pretty good stuff. They put together a pretty solid game.
Solid game, and it would seem to be solid team camaraderie, a team that really seems to be pulling for each other, and such a group of emotional players. Once they ride that high, they seem to be able to keep it and keep momentum on their side.
No, I agree. I mean, they look like they match up pretty well to the oil pattern. All the righties do. Scott Norton, the lefty, has a good look. And now it's just a matter of sticking together, making the right moves, and then making good shots and striking when you hit the pocket.
The ball now. The ball. The ball. Good job.
So handshakes all around, and the New York City WTT Kingpins have defeated the Motown Muscle and will advance to the PBA League semifinals against Chris Paul's LAX. Here's a look at our PBA League bracket quarterfinals. Two have been completed. The LAX, owned by Chris Paul, and the New York City WTT Kingpins, defending Elias Cup champions, owned by Billie Jean King, become our first two semifinalists. We've got two quarterfinal matches yet to come: Dallas and Silver Lake, and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Kimberly Pressler is laneside with the defending Elias Cup champions.
That's right. The defending champions get to see another day, or another match, I should say. Now, Pete, you guys struggled just a little bit. I mean, you played pretty well, but you did struggle. Was there any point that you thought maybe you're not going to pull through?
Oh, no, there was never a point that I thought that at all. I mean, because I knew once I won the first match that it was going to come down to the team match anyway. So, and if I don't have the best team that works together, then there's something wrong, and my team is not going to lose.
Well, you did pull out the win today. Now, Carolyn, you did a great job with this lineup and managing the team, and at the end of this, you could barely contain the excitement. Now, how much is that your team won, and how much of it is that you beat your husband, Del?
Well, that's number one, because we are very poor losers. We don't like to lose. You know, Pete definitely knows that out of me. But no, I'm telling you, this was a team effort. The guys kept communicating. We were talking about the breakdown on the lane. We were helping each other out, and honestly, this was truly a team effort, and we're ready to go.
Well, if you're ready to go, then you know that you guys are going to be heading up against the LAX team. What's your strategy?
Same thing that we did here tonight. We're going to see who's got what reaction on the lanes, make our lineup accordingly, and we're not going to get down. We're just going to keep communicating, make good shots, and you'll see us and talk to us when we're accepting the trophy.
A very confident Kingpin team. Congratulations on moving on to the semifinals.
Coming up next Sunday at 3 Eastern, it's the final round of the United States Bowling Congress Masters. Next Sunday, 3 Eastern on ESPN.
So, Pete Weber and the New York City WTT Kingpins move on, trying to repeat as the PBA League Elias Cup champions. Will they make it all the way to the finals? For Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler, this is Mike Jakubowski. Make sure to join us next week for the second major championship of the season, the USBC Masters.